Welcome to Love Yourself Loudly, and I just want to thank my crowds, my audience, that you're here watching my show. I have a lovely guest here. Her name is Miss Lali.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. I'm super excited to be here. It's my first time, my first podcast, but I'm grateful that you invited me over.
You're grateful. I am honored to have you here on this platform. It works very hard for me to get you here, but you're grateful, but I'm even more grateful because without you, I don't even think I will be able to have more women to come sit on my platform.
Oh,
so
thank you, Barry.
You're welcome. But now my question to you, because I'm so dying to figure you out, because I've been watching your Instagram, I've been watching your TikTok. I just wanted to know, so when you first started as a 9-to-5, like what did you do?
I worked in retail for over 15 years.
Okay.
So I'm actually from Cuba, born and raised. Yeah. I came to the U.S. when I was 21.
Okay.
And I was in retail for 15, 16 years. And that's all I knew what to do, selling and just customer service. And I never knew how I was going to be able to start my own business. It's not something that I planned, actually. And it's a funny story. It's funny that you ask because I didn't plan any of this. It just happened. I actually lost my job. At the time. It's always
start off like this. You always got to lose something.
Yes. And at the moment, of course, I thought the world was going to end. I was like, what's going to happen now? I'm a head of household.
Okay.
And I'm a single mom as well. So that's how everything started. I found myself at that point not knowing which direction, and I decided to give myself a break for a month. I said, you know what? I've never stopped working for 15 years straight. I'm going to take this month off, and I'm going to think of my next step. And after that month off, I just started coming with ideas.
Wow.
Yeah, and I didn't know where I was going to go, but I had one thing clear in my mind. I wasn't going back. I was like, I'm not going back to my previous job. I'm not going back to work for anyone. And that's how I started my first business. That it was actually Airbnb. It wasn't what I'm doing now.
Oh, so your first business was Airbnb.
Yeah.
Wow. So when you starting off at Airbnb, that's when Airbnb was kind of like starting into the market and people didn't know what it really was. Yep. And then that's
5 years ago.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And from there, did you like the Airbnb? Was it hard?
The first year was really challenging. I mean, like any business, I had no clue what I was going to do. And it was I just had like a small apartment that I was subleasing. It wasn't even my property.
Oh, that's good. So you were smart. Look at you.
Thank you. But yeah, it wasn't as beautiful because I was doing everything myself. I was doing the cleaning myself, me and my mother. And I was doing it all myself. The numbers didn't add up. Obviously, I had a high income before, so it wasn't. The numbers were not making sense. And for a whole year, I struggled with that Airbnb until I was able to expand. And that's when I started seeing results finally, because it was more rooms, bigger property, and it finally all made sense. But that first year was really challenging, especially financially.
Well, trust me, I know, because I know they gave this statement that anybody who start off a business, it takes up 2 years for you to see the progress. But some people thinking that when you're opening a business, they expect that magic is supposed to happen between that first year. But realistic, the first year is for you to learn and understand. So you do have to have some downfalls, and that will help you to become even better. So now on the second year, you know how to challenge those bad habits or spending extra monies, or you might get the wrong crowd into your business. And sometimes when you have friends or sometimes families too, but it depends on what kind of family. I'm not talking about like mothers and fathers, but sometimes when you have like other individuals into your presence and you're thinking they're going to help you to grow, but realistic, they're just sitting down and just kind of watch you fall. And it takes a lot of challenge in the first year. I'll say year and a half. Yep. And then maybe on the second year and so, then that's when you became the person you are.
Not even. It's been a journey.
Oh my goodness. So
no, it's a journey.
So the first one.
So my Airbnb was actually doing really good after that year number 2. I started seeing the numbers. Everything was going great.
Okay.
And then Airbnb also took a hit about a year and a half ago. Yeah, because people started doing Airbnb, investing, then the business went down, the numbers went down compared to a lot of investors started opening new Airbnbs. So the numbers were not making a lot of sense. And I saw that happening. So for a year, I was like, I have to prepare. Now I have to start something new because that was my entire income. And luckily, I've always been open since I started this entrepreneurial journey. I was open to new ideas. Like that's how I saw the balloon decoration thing as a side hustle. Okay. And the same with the yachts. And it was just like a baby side hustle I had for my clients at the Airbnb. And I saw that it was coming the Airbnb end, at least for my property, because it wasn't making sense. And I started pushing the other businesses and more and more and more. I was like, oh, I have to do it because this is gonna be the way out. And that's how I grow my yacht business. So now I have a charter business, yacht rental, and event planning as well.
Oh, so you do the yacht and the event plan, but the Airbnb, is it still there?
I closed my Airbnb.
So you stopped doing the Airbnb?
For now.
Okay.
That Airbnb, I finished it because the numbers were not making sense. And I knew, I was like, I have to do this. So I have to prepare for something else. So I closed that Airbnb, but I will open.
Because right now a lot of people are doing the Airbnb again. So because I feel like a lot of people feel like that's where the income is at, even though it's kind of rocky, but hopefully things will change. Because right now you start seeing the prices and you're like, oh my gosh, for Airbnb to stay here
it's
for
too much competition.
And it's all about the decoration too, because if the decoration doesn't meet the par, I would not be spending a certain amount of money just to be living in that house. So I don't even care what location.
Too many people open up new Airbnbs, and that's what happened. It hurt the business because there are so many, and the prices went down really. So the owners feel affected. And I went through it all. I went from the beginning. I lived a good part, and then the ending. And it doesn't mean that it ended, but it's definitely not what it used to be. So I think I did right.
Well, you did. I mean, since you brought up the balloons and you talking about this yacht charter, so how did that came about? Did somebody put a buzz in your ear to tell you to do this? Because I know you was doing event planning through your Airbnb, like you said, small, but then you merged it to the yacht. So
I know.
How did that came into the factor?
It was a transition. My first clientele was the bachelorette groups because I felt like that was what I wanted to do the most because I really like working with women. Okay. But I do yacht rental also without any occasion, any celebration. So you can also rent a yacht just for a day for your family and friends just to spend a few hours or celebrating any occasion. It's just that's what I'm known for the most. Bachelorettes and now birthdays too. Just because I make it very detailed for the ladies specialists because I love to target ladies. I love that's my audience and my crowd. And we do the decorations. I do it myself, actually, the decorations.
So you do all the decorations by yourself? Wow.
The decorations. I do have a team, but I'm the one who does the balloons.
Oh, my goodness.
And I plan the whole entire thing myself for decorations. And I have a team for cater food. So we work with 2 chefs. We have bartender, DJ, videographer.
Oh my goodness!
Yes,
you got a DJ too.
Yes, so it's
so
the
you have
entire
a one
experience.
shop. So it's a one stop, one shop in there. So basically, if I want to do a birthday party, I don't have to really go outside to be looking for anything. I could just do everything from
one place. And I feel like that's what the clients appreciate the most, that they're coming from out of state, because also 90% I would say of our clients are coming from out of state. Oh, wow. They appreciate that it's just one place and they can have all together. From the Airbnb to the yacht, obviously, to decorating the Airbnb, because that's also something I do a lot, decorating the Airbnb for bachelorettes or birthdays, and transportation. You need transportation. You need a promoter for the night party, restaurants, clubs. We also have a promoter. You need to have anything for the yacht party. You want to have the catered food ready when you arrive. You want to get like a really good video. You get the videographer. Anything you're going to need, any service in Miami, you get it from the same spot. So I think it's a peace of mind when you're traveling from out of state, just knowing that you're dealing just with one company, one person, because I handle the communication. So
God,
you're going to be talking to me.
You're so funny. You just going to be doing everything. But you know what? That's a beautiful thing, just to hear someone like you just sit there and analyze a whole dynamic and how to make a woman feel special on their day, and when they leave, they could just say, you know what, I'm definitely going to come back to this event because, or this yacht party or the Airbnb and stuff like that.
The birthday, when it's your special day.
Oh, wow. So maybe, guys, I might do something, but we'll see. But whenever that time comes, I definitely will come meet you so we could post that up on the Instagram and stuff like that. Now, so technically, because you say you love working with women, do you feel like, do you target the man as well, or do you just feel like,
Not really.
No, so it's more and more of the females.
Nothing against my male clients. I do have male clients. I actually also rent the cars, like luxurious cars. So I had plenty of male clients in the past. They also book the yacht, so please don't feel offended in any way. It's just that I really enjoy groups of females. I feel like the energy is different. They're more organized too. Like we plan everything. The communication just flows. And I love targeting women and just seeing. The best part is when I see their reaction. Like I live for that moment, because you're coming there, you don't know what to expect, and then I really care, so I stay through the way. Sometimes I even stay in the yacht if I can.
Oh wow! Yeah,
and then to help them with the accessories, what are they doing, the positions, the picture, the concept.
It's not easy for people to do that. They always like anybody who makes a reservation into a yacht. You just speak to the owner or whatever, and after that, they're gone. So it's like they have their team, and there's a team that's the one that entertaining, you or whatever the service that you have in plan. So let me ask you another question. For the younger crowd who wants to become a yacht, entrepreneur, like doing event planning and stuff like that, what can you tell them where they need to start, or where did they need to go? Like what revenue that they have to start to be like, all right, I want to be a yacht owner. I don't know how you call it, event planner, like to become what you're doing. Like what they need to look after.
Well, like I said, it wasn't a one-day thing or a fast transition. It just started from a step. Well, what happened to me was unfortunate, but it was actually the best thing that ever happened to me, and I'm grateful for that as well. But just if you see an opportunity, and that's I feel like that was my case. I saw an opportunity, and I didn't give myself another chance. I was like, for me, my why was freedom. It's not that I hated my previous job,
it's just that freedom.
But freedom, like that was my why. I was like, I hated the fact that somebody handed me my schedule every month and told me how my life was gonna be. These are your days off. This is your vacation days, and that's something that it never made sense to me.
I'm in the same boat as you right now.
When I saw that month off, that was all I needed. I was like, I didn't care at that moment anything. I was like, I'm willing to do anything, but I don't want to go back to working for anyone. So my advice would be, just start. If you have anything you're passionate about, obviously. Okay. So if there's anything you like to do, like I tell when I meet somebody that likes to bake cakes or have a passion about photography, if you feel like you like to do that, just start. Don't wait until I'm ready because I need to become a professional, because you're never gonna be ready. So start with your friends or start with anyone you know, even if you have to offer the service for free. Even if you're not gonna make a lot of money, just do it. When I started doing the balloons, I never took a course. I never learned how to do it. I learned how to do it myself. And what I was doing is whenever there was a family event, I was there, and I was like, I'm bringing the balloons, I'm doing the decorations. And everybody was like, this is so funny. Like, why are you even doing this? I wanted to do it. And I told myself, one day I'm going to make money doing the balloon thing and the event planning thing. And I was struggling because I had no clue. And I never took a course.
See? So that's why when I've been talking to women, and I always ask certain women's out there, like it depends what conversation that we're talking about. And I always ask them, everyone has a gift. You know, and sometimes people doesn't know what is their passion. And I always ask them, what do you like to do every single day? Like, what do you do? It doesn't matter if it's like on the weekend or whatever, but it's like there's a niche. Like every time when you're home, you're like, you know what, I want to do this. And I always tell them, whatever that is, that's your gift. And that gift right there will help you to expand the revenues that you're looking for in life. But sometimes people kind of pass by it and they don't see it. They thinking, oh, I'm just doing this for free. Oh, I'm just doing this because, you know, whatever. I don't see it. I don't see no money into this. And I'm like, no, that's where the money is at. It's just that you just have to learn how to implement that and learn how to know the marketing and the dynamic. And then you'll be surprised. That right there will help you to get the money that you need, and it will make it easier for you to leave the 9-to-5. But, you know, a lot of women's, some men's, but I think a lot of women's, I'm going to speak for the ladies, there's a lot of women's out there, they have that fear, especially when you're in a 9-to-5 and you don't want to lose that income. So it's just like, yeah, okay, it's great to have a business. However,
the security. Yeah.
Correct. And I always tell them that it's okay. You have to have fear no matter what you do, because even though if you're working a 9-to-5, who to say that you're going to be there? Because they could fire you any given day. You could be giving your all, and then out of nowhere they still fire you. So what happened after that? You still got to start from scratch again, because you're not going to wake up in the morning and get another job. You got to go back and start putting your resume and trying to do interviews and all these stuff like that. So I say it's the same aspect as a business. So while you're working and you find the niche that you love to do, or like I explained to certain women's out there, is that little income that you're bringing home, even though you're paying your bills and stuff like that, but take some and put it towards that business, and you'll be surprised. Down the line, it's not going to grow quickly, but eventually it's going to get where it needs to be. But you just have to have faith.
And it might not even be, sorry for interrupting, but I want to add something.
It's okay.
It might not even be what you end up doing.
Okay.
What's funny about this is that it's typically a journey. You start doing one thing, and that's going to open up something else. And it's just being open in general. Like I always tell people, I don't say no. When I'm asked to do something business related that's going to bring any income, I say yes. I've taken jobs that were huge, that they were bigger than my size, and I said yes, and I did it. And I've making so many mistakes, and I still do. But I feel like that's the biggest problem there. Like it's scary, and people don't feel prepared, but you just have to say yes, and you start doing one thing, and that's going to take you to the next. And you might end up finding what you really love doing, but it not necessarily means that it's going to be the first side hustle or the first thing that you start.
True. But I'm just trying to, we're just trying to help the ladies to get out of that fear. So like you just said, even though I might
starting
feel like
small.
Correct. So I might feel like this could be your niche, right? But like you said, once you enter that niche, other doors is going to open. So when other doors is open, it's really upon us as a woman to be like, all right, should I go there or should I stay where I'm at? So it's really upon your faith. So that's the reason why I always tell certain women out there, like, don't be afraid. It's okay. Because like you said, we're all going to make mistakes. There's nobody perfect. And sometimes the little mistakes that you make, they don't even see it. You might see it, but they don't see it. But just by you making that little mistake, they're going to appreciate you even more because that's true too. You will learn from the next round. It's just like you working a 9-to-5. You're not going to be perfect, but you're going to make mistakes. So when you make that mistake is going to teach you, like, okay, I'm not going to do this anymore because I don't want to get fired.
How can I do it different next time?
Correct. So it's the same concept as having a business. So sometimes I'm trying to open certain women's eyes to understand. And I'm not trying to make everybody open their own business or anything like that, but I'm just trying to help women. Like, you can't just stick with one streams of income.
I feel like a very important question is the why. Like if your why is strong enough, you're going to do anything. That whatever it takes. And that's the most important thing to me is asking yourself why would I want to leave my 9-to-5 and start something new? If your why is strong enough, that's going to stay in your head and that's going to push you.
That's true too.
Yeah, the why is very important.
That's very true. Yeah, you're right. Because sometimes certain women don't even know the whys. Sometimes they stay they're in a stigma. It's like in a standstill.
We all been there. I was in survival mode for like 16 years, and I was like, there's no way I could ever leave my 9-to-5. It's not an option because I need that money. I'm a provider, and I need that income. So how am I? It wasn't even in my mind. But the moment you see it, once you see it in front of you, your why is strong enough, you give yourself no option. I got rid of all my work attire, and at the time I was struggling financially, but I was like, I'm gonna get rid of all these clothes because I'm not going back to working for anybody. So I know I'm not gonna need these clothes because I'm gonna make this happen anything. I didn't know what I was going to be doing. I had no clue I was going to end up here where I am right now, renting yachts and doing events. But it's something that I love, and I think that's very important. I enjoy it. So even when I'm exhausted and I'm tired because I do a lot myself, I still enjoy. And every time I finish an event or renting a yacht or greeting clients just for coming in for an experience, I'm happy and I feel happy. And that's something that I enjoy doing. I think it's very important that whatever you do, you're passionate about it.
So on your downtime, what do you do?
My downtime, my son. I spend time with my son. I like cooking.
Oh, you do?
I started my cooking journey with my entrepreneurial journey because before I didn't have any time. And I have 2 dogs.
You have 2 dogs?
Yeah, 2 huge dogs. Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm actually I'm a volunteer. I haven't volunteered now for a few months, but I'm a volunteer at the dog shelter. So I enjoy that very much as well. Okay. And in general, yeah, my son and my dogs are my favorite thing to do. And exercising, very important. I feel like it's very important to take care of your health. And I learned this past year, especially, to be a little more selfish about myself and my needs, because I usually prioritize everyone else's, and I want to fix the world and take care of everything, and I'm not doing that anymore. So yeah, in my downtime, I try to take care of myself and mental and physical health.
I understand, and that's where the journey that I'm trying to do right now is to focus on myself, because like you said, when you're so used to helping everybody else, you don't really have time for yourself. And then you had to sit back and think, like, if something happened to me today, them same people that you're trying to help, they're not gonna give you that same back in return, and then you'll be like, I just wasted my time. But it's not really wasted, because you're just doing it with your kind heart. But then at the same token, like you said, you have to be selfish, because once you become selfish, and then that's when people are going to start respecting who you are. And then now they will know how to value you, because you set boundaries for yourself, and you be like, this is exactly what I'm going to do. And if you don't like it, then you're more than welcome to leave. There's no hard feelings here. I'm still going to respect you. I'm still going to talk to you, but you're not going to get that same version that you had of me in the past. So I really do understand everything that you're going through. It's something kind of similar for me, because I know you have some questions you want to ask about me, because I know you're curious.
Yes.
You look curious, but go ahead. You
like,
can ask me.
When we spoke at the beginning, you mentioned the first time we spoke that, well, you had this podcast. It's about women and how to love yourself loudly. So I thought I love the subject, and that's why I wanted to be a part of it. But what is exactly what you do with this group of women, and what was the intention behind you creating this podcast? That's the main question I have in my head, and I wanted to do it here.
And I appreciate that. That's a good question. The reason why I use the word love yourself loudly is because that I had some things with my life that I had to fix within myself. And the podcast, before I start explaining why I use the Love Yourself Loud, because I had another name, but then the Love Yourself Loudly it was more catchy. How the podcast came into the factor is because that in the beginning, like you said, a 9-to-5, I was working at a doctor office, and I wanted to do shea butter. So I created shea butters. I was trying.
Sorry, I don't know.
It's a cream. It's a shea butter. Okay. It was something organic. So it's like a lotion.
You created that cream?
I had to sit there and cook it, make it, doing all the stuff like that, and trying to make it look. But I used to call it butterfly kisses. So when I first started, at that time, my mother was, she had cancers and stuff like that. So that's how, that came a factor. And then I kind of dragged my sister into it, and she was doing the soap, and I was doing the shea butter. And I'm just like, you know what, we're going to do something. And then after that, and then after that, and I said, you know what, let's do a podcast. And, me and my sister talking, I said, you know what? And my sister, when I first started, I was just like you, shy. Because, I was scared. That was something that I loved to do, but I just didn't know how to implement it to the world. And it was just like every time I'm on camera, it's just like, you know, I get mistaken with my words and stuff like that. And I didn't know if I was coming or going. So I used to do a lot of mistakes throughout the years, a lot of mistakes. And I'm not going to lie about that. And after that, from the shea butter, again, like you said, you're doing stuff for free, you're giving away stuff. You're working. I have 2 boys, so I have to deal with that. And, you know, my mom was sick, so I had to deal with that. So I was just trying to find ways to make money, but it was a lot of people at that time, they feel like I was supposed to give out free shea butters, and I'm just like, okay, but...
Were you actually selling it?
Yeah, I was selling them too, yes.
Online?
I was doing it online. Okay. I had this one physician. She was trying to help me to sell it on her website. And it was kind of working a little bit, so it was like here and there, but at the same token, it was just like... Then, you know, I went to, my bad. So I did that, and I went to certain events. I was trying to sell it. Mm-hmm. It has its pros and cons, you know, and it was like people feel like they should get more of the free shea butter than versus of paying for it. Because it's like if I give a price, they feel like that was not the price. And I'm just like, okay, what price are you guys looking for? Because, you know, when you're adding everything that you have to make the shea butter with the container, with the labels, and that time was around COVID. So it was making its flow, but it wasn't making the consistent flow that I was looking for. And unfortunately, then I ended up saying, let me do skincare. So then I started buying products for skincare, and I was doing so many things. And then after that, unfortunately, the podcast was doing good. Then we started getting good at it, and it was just me and when it was just me and my sister, it seemed like more people was looking at us, because when me and my sister speak on podcasts, it's like, you know, we're very blunt, and then we're just having fun. And
to say Terry's.
Exactly. And then we just start thinking about it, and we start, you know, back then we were just drinking, and then we noticed when we're drinking, we get more crazy. And then I was like, okay, so my sister was like, you know what, just give everybody something to drink. So I was just like, you know what, cool. So anybody who comes to the podcast, we'll give you something to drink. But then I start noticing, you know, once you start getting a little tipsy, you know, then the words start getting sloppy, and I'm just like, okay, this is not working out. But it was fun at the moment, you know. Then unfortunately my mom passed away. So when she passed away, then everything just went downhill for me. So then I think that from there I feel like, okay, I'm not getting the support that I usually, because my mom used to be like, oh, you could do it, you know, you just want to hear that, even though you may not do, but you just want to hear that support. And then after that, and I think that was a downfall for me. So then I stopped everything. So I had a break, and it took time for me to realize who I am. And at first I thought I was cured, if that makes sense. I thought I was okay. And for the past 2 years, it feels like I was on a standstill, and I feel like I didn't think I need therapy, because I feel like I'm always so busy helping everybody else, and I didn't know that I was in help, because I couldn't tell. But other people outside could see it, but I couldn't see it, because I thought I was good, you know. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with me. So it was just this year. This year was the year I actually had to go to therapy, because it was some complication that I was going through from the middle of last year and this year, you know, just thinking about committing suicide and all these other things, because I feel like it's like no one didn't hear me. It feels like I was in a standstill, like on a wall, and I'm like, why no one is not understanding what's going on with me? It makes me feel like, am I stuck, or if I'm blind? And I think it was one gentleman, you know, this one guy who came in my podcast, he was a therapist, and he told me that you need to go see a therapist. And
you started?
And I did. And then that's when I knew, okay, when I encountered with a therapist, and then me and her at first was talking back and forth, she kind of gave me a broad and understand what was my situation. And then I went to a male therapist, and then that even makes it more better. And now I know, okay, I wasn't healed from everything else that was going on. So by me letting it out, it makes me understand, who am I? You know, so it's now I could speak to you right now on the platform, and I'm comfortable. See, a while back it was a little bit hard, because I couldn't balance the two. So, and then it's like the way I might speak to you, it might feel like I might get a little bit aggressive, but I'm not. It's just that I was trying to understand. But now I'm just like, oh, okay, so now I get it. So now when people come and talking to me, I know how to register and how to communicate back to you, and how to be more mellow, and not to be so taking your problem like it's my problem, and all that's wrapped up into one, and I'm like, I'm not doing that anymore. So your Love Yourself Loudly, where that came about, it's for women who is going through a lot, the same situation that I've been through. And I'm trying to teach them that how to love yourself. And you don't need to do it quietly. You need to show it. Like, don't be embarrassed of whatever the situation you got going on. Because sometimes it's okay to find somebody that you trust and you could talk about your problems. And that person could help you to get where you need to be at. Even if you feel like you want to cry or you feel like you want to commit suicide, find that one person that you feel comfortable with and talk to that person. And hopefully that person could help you to get you out of that journey that you're in, that mindset, that thought process. You know, find somebody you could just run to. Like that commit suicide part, the person that I had to call, it was my sister. Because that was the first person that was on my head. And, you know, I apologize that I had to put her through that because she was kind of confused because she didn't know what was going on at that moment. And
good that you did.
Yeah. And
that you had someone that you could open
exactly.
up to.
And, you know, and that's the only person that if I have any issues, I think people who knows me, they already know that's like she's the first person that I run to to talk about everything that goes on. If I'm feeling like I'm stressed or if I'm crying or anything that goes on, like she's the first number I could call. So, and then she will help me trying to balance it down, or sometimes if she can't, she'll just, I don't know what her thought process is. But
sometimes all what you need is just to verbalize it.
Correct.
Even when you just say it aloud, you're like, okay, I see it better now. Like once it comes out, it's just difficult to verbalize it and take that time.
Correct. But sometimes it's good to let it out, but at the same token too, you still need therapy because I feel like the therapist will help you to guide you to the right direction. Because sometimes you could talk to someone. It's good to let it out. I'll say this. It's good to let it out, but a therapist will help you to understand the dynamic, why you're thinking that way. Because there was a lot of things that I was thinking, I couldn't understand it.
Why,
so now the way they'll portray it and they will put it down in boxes and I'm like, oh,
it makes sense.
Okay, so this is what it is. And then that's when I know how to dodge the bullet or how to become better or not to think that way anymore and not to be negative and stuff like that. So
you started learning about yourself.
Correct.
That's what it is.
And then now when you start seeing other people with that same issues that you have, it's easy to kind of connect the dots and be like, okay, I've been there. All right, sweetheart, this is what's going on here. Sometimes a person might need a hug, but they're not going to say anything. And then you could come in and you know that person need a hug. It's easy just to give that person a hug. And sometimes that hug that you'll give that person, you could feel them crying and you could feel that. It's like, it's just a weird, sensational feeling. Be like, wow, this person understand my pain. And I'll be telling them, I'm like, it's okay. You don't have to tell me, but I know you needed this hug. And then after that, I'll just walk away. And they will come back. They'll be like, Perry, why did you do that? You know? And I'm just like, I don't know. It's just that sometimes the universe is telling me to give you this. And I don't know why. But I guess whatever the issue you got going on, it will be fine. You just don't be negative. So that's the reason why I use the word love yourself loudly, because I want women to understand that we all have problems. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be money, relationship, families, it could be friends, it could be whatever, but it's good for us to unite it. It's so sad, like a lot of women is always against each other. It's always jealous about every little thing.
Competing.
It's just like, oh, if this person had this, oh my gosh, oh, I could get it too. It's like, sweetheart, anybody could get it. We all could work together. It's not all about holding everything as a secret, because whatever the stuff that you're doing, where do you think you're learning from? It's not like you just wake up off your bed and you like, you just go to YouTube, you go to books, you learn. And when you teach others, it's not just you're helping them, you're helping yourself as well. So and I always tell ladies, look into the mirror. When you wake up in the morning, look at yourself, say to yourself like, hey,
your self-talk is super important too.
Girl.
I used to struggle with that a lot, and now that you mention it, actually, I was just thinking, I'm like, that's how I started my journey. It was all together because I also started working with a life coach.
See?
So I didn't have a therapist, but I had a life coach, and I learned a lot about myself. It was about the same time during COVID, and I started taking the time also to, understand why so many things. And it helped me a lot. So it's definitely something that I would recommend for anyone, female or male,
anyone. So, and not even that, there's another method that I give to certain women's as well, even men's, because there's sometimes I have men who come to the office and they'll have a breakdown, but it's always me always have to catch it. You know, it's like
they open up to you.
It's so weird. And I think that's my gift, because sometimes I be feeling like, oh my gosh. And sometimes when and especially for men, to get men to break down in front of you, that's not easy. So for me to be blessed and honored to get that, it makes me understand guys a little bit better. And then at the end, they'll be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did this. It's like, it's so weird how I could break down in front of you. And I said, it's okay. And I get it. But this is a method that I always like to tell people, because I've done it and I noticed the difference. It's like, you get a journal and you write down everything that goes on with your life. It doesn't matter if you mistake it. You don't have to write it. You don't have to make it look all perfect. You write down all the pains that's going on. And when you burn that paper, you could feel that weight that come off of you. I told them to do that. And some of them did, and they'll come back and say thank you. Or sometimes I tell them, go to the beach and sit down and just meditate. Sometimes take a journal to and write something that you love, or something that you want to do in life, something that you wish you could have done but you feel like you can't. And then when you read it, trying to work on it, because it doesn't mean that you can't do it. It's just that you're just not finding the right sources to do it. So sometimes the sources could be in front of you, you're just not paying attention. So I just feel like you need to focus and trying to do what you need to do to become better, and that will help you in life, even if it's a relationship or whatever the situation is. If you feel like the relationship is not great, or you feel like you have to struggle, or you have to go through some, leave it alone. Because if that person doesn't have the same energy as you, you're not going to prosper where you need to be at, because that person could have a negative energy, even though it have nothing against you, but it's just their energy is not good and you're trying to do better. That's not going to grow.
So you have a group of female, or a group of people that you kind of like guide?
So when you say life coach, so that's the thing that I do. So
that's what I was thinking.
That's how I became a life coach. So so that's where I'm bringing myself to become a life coach. So for the life coach to brand, I had to go to therapy. So I had a mentor that told me to do that. Okay. So now by me clearing myself out and understand, now I'm comfortable
to help other women.
So yes, I am a life coach as well. So that's why I use the word love yourself loudly, is because of that, and because of my mother as well. So I just realized that at the end of the day, anything could happen to us. So you just got to enjoy life every single day, because you never know when is your last. Because that right there had me that's an eye awakening for me. That it happened so fast I couldn't even realize it. So that right there changed my life right there. So this is the reason why I'm doing stuff like this. So if something happened to me, at least I leave a footprint in this world, and people could say, yes, this person touched me. So that's the reason why I use the word love yourself loudly.
That's beautiful, Penny. Thank you for sharing with me.
No problem. I'm surprised. This is my first time bringing this in the platform.
No.
Yes. Yay. So you took that out of me.
I did.
So I just want to say thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it that you shared your journey, your life. Hopefully, I will definitely have a yacht party. So if you guys want to participate,
any yacht party in Miami, any events, now you have your girl Lali, and the company is Lali Land. We didn't mention it before.
There you go. So go ahead and tell her.
Yeah, you can find us on Instagram, Lali Land, and the website as well, TikTok, all the platforms. Now we're gonna be also in YouTube with the podcast. But yes, any event planning in Miami, any yacht party, this is your girl right here.
And I will have no problem. And I will have all the information on the bottom line, so the description, so you can see where to go. So you're welcome, and I appreciate it. And guys, thank you for watching. Bye.
Bye.